In November, our voters, passed criminal justice reform with state questions 780 and 781. 780 and 781 downgrade some drug crimes from felonies to misdemeanors, also property crimes. These state questions actually just went into effect July 1st, but no laws regarding criminal justice reform were passed this legislative session. Governor Mary Fallin, by the way, actually criticized the lack of progress this past session. So where do things stand right now? To break everything down, because we received actually more than 200 questions and comments about this. We are joined now by Representative Tim Downing. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, Abigail. Thanks for having me.
Let's break it down. You're from the Purcell area, by the way, for those who didn't know. Where do things stand right now? State question 780, 781 went into effect July 1st. What does that mean? Because no legislation was actually passed.
Right, and that's so important for Oklahomans to understand. Right now, as of July 1st, all of your drug possession crimes, regardless of how many offenses you've had, regardless of the schedule of drug, regardless of the location you're at, that will now be a misdemeanor. It had the possibility prior to that effective date to be a felony. That's about 9,000 cases per year in 2016. I don't have the Oklahoma and Tulsa County data, which would raise that number even more. So it's important people know that it's in effect, but also that it has a massive impact. That's a lot of cases. It also dealt with property crimes. We increased the threshold from 500 to 1,000 that it would take to charge something as a felony. When you add that in, I think a conservative estimate is about 20,000 cases that we're going to see this year go from felonies to misdemeanors, which the end result of that is it defers those to the counties. And so our county is going to have a big burden to bear this year.
Also hoping to ease some prison overcrowding and deal with, the purpose of this was to help ease prison overcrowding. Our prisons at last check were at 109% capacity. We're number one for not over incarceration, just number one for incarceration for women, number two per capita in the country for incarceration, period. And also deal with some mental health issues, maybe some addiction issues, people self-medicating with these drugs. Now, I want to go back to what you said off the top, because now you said drug possession crimes, no matter where, no matter what, are all now misdemeanors.
That's correct.
So if I have 5 pounds of cocaine, it is now just a misdemeanor.
Well, you potentially could get possession with intent to distribute, but our highest court, the Court of Criminal Appeals, has said quantity alone is not enough. So you usually need to have testimony, catch someone in an act. I had a local law enforcement officer down in Pauls Valley tell me the other day that he found someone with a large amount of drugs with a ledger, and they still couldn't get possession with intent. The federal code does have quantities, we do not. And so right now as it stands, to get that intent, you really have to have an affirmative act.
Okay, why wasn't this figured out, I guess? Why wasn't this tackled during this past legislative session? Even Governor Mary Fallin criticized the fact that lawmakers weren't able to tackle this past legislative session.
Are you talking about the additional reforms?
The additional reforms.
Right.
Nothing was done. She criticized Representative Scott Biggs for what she called holding up criminal justice bills in the last week of session, because a lot of this could have been fixed.
Yeah, she went after him.
She did.
And I think it's important people to realize that State Question 780, it was written by the ACLU out of New York and funded by them, so that you had a different group and a local coalition that worked on that. The Pew Trust Foundation out of Washington, D.C. has put this package together for the governor. So they deal with different things, where 780 dealt with reducing felonies to misdemeanors. What you see in the governor's package is about reducing felonies from a higher sentence to a lower sentence. Two of the big ones dealt with property crimes, and then also it had to do with repeat offenders. And so if you had someone that was repeat offending, right now if it's your second time, generally speaking, it would be a 2-time multiplier, the minimum. Third time and above would be a 3-time multiplier, and they wanted to make that a 1.25 multiplier if someone had only nonviolent offenses, which I think is where this conversation would be the most helpful, is because, again, an outside group coming in, we have a statute that defines what a violent offense is, but it's not thorough.
Sure.
And so it missed a lot of crimes. Solicitation of sex by a minor. I had a case like that when I was at the Attorney General's office. I can tell you that has a grave risk to public safety. We need to look at that. Domestic violence by strangulation. So there were a lot of offenses that you see. Hate crimes is another example.
Why wasn't that done, though, is what I'm asking.
Well, that wasn't a bill that was filed. It wasn't a vehicle. So you had about 4 of her bills that referenced over to this section Title 57, Section 571. And by referencing to that, it left a big gap in the crimes that we need to look at. So I think that's what you'll see as we approach some studies this session, is trying to identify, maybe classify what our felony offenses are versus violent versus nonviolent.
Sure. I mean, that's a big definition.
Yeah.
What's violent, what's nonviolent,
Right.
what's a public safety threat, what's not a public safety threat, what's someone feeding a mental health issue, what's someone feeding an addiction, or what's someone with intent to distribute and be a threat to public safety. We did get a lot of viewer questions about this. I would like to get to this first one. This one is from AJ. This person said, well, if you were throwing people in jail for small crimes, then it wouldn't be overcrowded. So I'm glad the state is finally listening to that. Do you agree with AJ?
Here's what I think is important for people to keep in mind. When we talk about small crimes being like a drug offense, we think of that as being nonviolent, but I can tell you the overdoses, the carnage in our state from people overdosing is big. That's as violent as it gets. You also, when you talk to law enforcement officers, child abuse, child neglect, domestic violence, burglaries, almost always have drugs associated. So,
but those will still be a felony. If you're abusing a child, that's still a felony,
those
correct?
would. Yeah,
Okay.
but that's where I'm going with this. So when we say you want to release more offenders out of prison, I think the key ingredient here, and step one should be, what will we do with them?
Okay.
How do we fund a diversion program for mental health and substance abuse? 781 was supposed to do that. Now, even though it came in effect July 1st, that Preston Dorflinger won't actually operate under that statute until July 31st of 2018. So counties, those 9,000 extra drug offenders, they have no additional money for treatment. So they're out there with that money to be treated and helped. I think that's the greatest concern. So I agree with her, but if you're going to let those people out, you have to have a mechanism in place to fund that and give them help and treatment so we don't see an increase in all the crimes that are associated with it.
Get them kind of reintroduced back into the world,
Yeah.
get them jobs and get them help, rather than just kind of turning them loose. Like I said, we received a lot of viewer questions about this, more than 200 comments on the Facebook Live I did. So we're going to get to those, but we do want to get, well, we're going to do one more. This one from Brandy. She said, drug rehab is great if the addict wants to get better. What about those who go through therapy just to get out and back to drugs? We do not have mental health facilities. How do you distinguish the person who's just kind of going through the motions because they want to get back on the streets, or the person who actually really wants to get help? Maybe a mom who's fallen into addiction and wants to get help for her kids and wants to get a job and get better, versus the guy who's just kind of going through the motions so he can get back to drug dealing. How do you distinguish that?
I think you find out pretty quickly. I think the drug court programs that I've heard from, it's an 18-month program, they would usually find out pretty quickly. That was one of the concerns, by the way, is by having this change in the law, we would have less people willing to go through a long drug court program when they can spend a few months in county or pay a fine. I have a rehabilitative type program down the road from me. It's a faith-based organization. We need 1,000 more of those.
Sure.
That is the answer, and that is the key. I love your State of Addiction series you're doing with your network.
Thank you.
It really highlights the fact that we need help and we need support out there for people, and before they get hit with a criminal charge of some type. We want people to know where it is. Like she is mentioning, there's people who want help. They don't need that leverage of a criminal charge pending, and we need them to know where it is and also have the resources out there to get them to it. The Attorney General, Mike Hunter, is doing an effort on opioids right now, and we're doing a commission. I'll be on it. A big piece of that last session, we filed a bill to put about $100 to $200 million away to actually fund diversion programs and treatment. That's where my heart is on this issue.
Sure.
Is step one is, what are we going to do with the people? How do we treat them and help them?
It's an epidemic.
It
and
is.
It's a sickness. It's a mental sickness, and you don't want to slap them with a scarlet letter, a felony for life, because they have this sickness. But on the other side, there are people who do bad things, and they continue to do bad things. So that's kind of where we're drawing the line, and unfortunately, no reform bills were passed as we're talking about.